taking flats. First of all, we need to cover the telescope with a cloth. So I've got a white cloth here, which I'm just putting over the front of the telescope, and then just an elastic band to hold it in place. And then you just need to make sure there are no wrinkles there. Now it's an overcast day today. It's not bad for taking flats actually, but what you want is basically not having full sun. You just want a nice white sort of sky. It's completely overcast, so I'm just going to point the scope up at the sky. The idea being that when you look at this, it should be completely evenly lit across the top. And then, if I come around, I fitted the DSLR. Now, when you're taking flats, you need to make sure that nothing in the optical chain has changed at all. So basically, your focus needs to be the same, your filters need to be the same if you had filters on, and everything else must be identical. Don't change the focus, because that will change where the dust potentially is in the whole of the chain. And also don't move the camera at all. Don't rotate the camera, because that changes the position. Then, if I now set this up so you can actually see, then on the actual camera itself, if I move this round, you need to change this knob here to TV. I just did it again. It's not TV mode, it's AV mode. Look, AV mode. The ISO must remain the same. Okay, so I am going to now turn on the camera. It will automatically choose the correct exposure for these flats, and then you just rattle off about 30 of them if you can. And the idea is you just keep on going until you've got about 30 or 40 of them, and that's your flats done with a DSLR. It's as simple as that. Now I'm just using a white piece of material here. You could use a white t-shirt. You can double up the material if you wish. The idea is that it's just being a diffuser. That's all it is. It's a light diffuser, so that you've got a nice even field for the light entering the telescope, seeing all of the dust and all of the bits that are inside the telescope and on your filters and so on. And then when all of that is stacked together, the vignetting, the dust and all of the artifacts are removed. So that's with a DSLR. So now I'm going to go and get an astronomy camera, and we'll do exactly the same, only this needs a computer. Okay, so I've now fitted a dedicated astronomy camera with my filter drawer and flattener on, and I'm pretending that this is as it would have been in an imaging session. I've got the laptop out and I've connected it to the computer. So I'm going to adjust this camera so you can actually see the screen. Okay, so I'm going to go to astrophotography tool, and what we need to do is go to tools and go to CCD flats aid, and we need to work out our target ADU. So with this camera here, what we have to do using a calculator, we need to put 2 to the power of 14, and that will give us, which is 16,384, and you divide that by 2, which gives us 8,192. So whatever the bit rate is of your camera, you need to work out 2 to the power of that bit rate divided by 2. Then it tells you what percentage range either side of that. So I've just put 5% in there. Then it says what is the maximum and minimum exposure time that you want to put in. So I've got maximum of 2 seconds, minimum of 0.01 second. I've not got any binning turned on, and I've not got region of interest turned on. And then I wanted to do a flats count of 30. Now I can see that the telescope is pointed towards the sky. It's got a nice flat field of bright light across the front, and I'm now going to just click run. It will now run through the sequence here, and it will take various exposures to find out the exact exposure time it needs to take accurate flats. So it's doing that right now.
Auto flats finished.
There we go. So it's now been through and it's calculated the exact exposure time and gain range that's required. And it says, do you want to create a new plan? So we do, so I'm going to click yes. And then when we go back into camera, we'll see it's created a flats plan here. And I'm actually going to just click start, and it will then run through and create that flats plan. After we've done this, we then need to take flat darks or dark flats. And to do that, all we have to do is put the lens cap onto the front of the telescope and then run this plan again on exactly the same settings.
Imaging plan finished.
Okay, so it's now finished the flats for me. So what I'm going to do now is put this lens cap on the front of the telescope and then start the plan again.
Imaging plan finished.
Okay, so that's how we take flats using a dedicated astronomy camera.